Today's sponsor is Loot Crate. For less than $20 a month, Loot Crate gives the geek in you a special treat every month. Loot Crate's a subscription box service with $40 worth of geek, gamer, and pop culture gear, collectibles, apparel, comics, and more delivered to your mailbox every month. This month, they're bringing you a fight for the ages. Suit up, choose your allies, and enter the arena for combat. They're ready to stand their ground this month with exclusive items from Blizzard, Fallout 4, Capcom, sponsor-worthy loot from the Hunger Games, as well as a few more items that will help your winners emerge victorious. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. Just go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. All right, moving on. So I read a really interesting article on this little website called IGN.com by our boy Mitch Dyer.
I love Mitch Dyer.
He's a good dude. So the article was entitled Halo 5 Ads Lied to You. Okay.
Yeah, I know this one.
Okay. Yeah.
This got kicked around. Everyone started talking about what the game oof.
So here's my thing. I want to talk about the article, but I also want to talk about how ridiculous people's reaction to the article is.
Sure.
Because I just don't understand the kind of reactions that it got.
Here's where I came.
Vicious uproar.
My uproar was not vicious. I did not tweet. I did not yell. I did not scream. I saw it, and then I saw people discuss, I saw the headline. I saw people reacting to it, that the ads lied to you and da-da-da. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks. Because I hadn't started it yet. I haven't jumped in. I don't know what the story is going to be. And the story I have set up is Locke versus Chief. That's the thing. And so for this to be like, it all lied to you, I'm like, oh, that's not really the story. So they're not going to be friends immediately. I don't know the spoiler of what happened or where they're going or whatever, but the ads got me hyped based on the story. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So then knowing that that's not really what it was, like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. But I mean, here's my thing. That's not Mitch's fault.
No. I'm not mad at Mitch.
Okay, well, then, but what I'm saying is a lot of people are.
Oh, people are mad about it.
And that's the other thing, is like people are acting like IGN is like biased against Xbox, and this whole thing is like a shitting on Halo thing.
Trust us, when we left, they became decidedly unbiased against Xbox.
But it's like shitting on like the marketing of it, and that's different. I think that's entirely different, and it's a very valid thing to talk about. And in terms of the spoilers, spoiling what's not in the game is spoiling the game, but if you're being lied to, this stuff should be presented to you, right?
Okay, well, read the story. Because I didn't click on it. I started Halo last night, and now I'm into it, but I still haven't gotten to where the story falls apart in 180s. Gotcha. And it's not
so that. It's a long article. I'm gonna just read excerpts here.
I'm gonna put my arm around while I do it.
Spoilers here, but they're spoiling just what's not in the game. So if you don't want to hear that,
no touching.
Prepare yourself.
No touching.
So most of the cinematic scenes you've seen for Halo tell a very different story than the game itself. The debut trailer for Halo for Xbox One, shown in E3 2013, has little resemblance to anything that happens in Halo 5 Guardians. The lonely robed traveler wandering through a desert wasteland never shows up anywhere, even thematically. In fact, your squad is with you the entire way. This is a co-op campaign through and through. Nothing about this scene seems to matter to the main plot, other than the existence of the Winged Guardian itself. So, there's that.
So far, so good.
Then, the most baffling piece of marketing is the commercial 2-pack showing two separate perspectives of the same scene. You may remember Master Chief looking down on a dying Locke, contrasting with an alternate scene that reverses the roles and shows a Locke chastising a wounded John 117. Both scenes end with the implied execution in a ravaged city, whose last standing structure is a monument to Master Chief. Above, the infinity is smoldering in the sky, possibly singing towards the planet's surface. None of this happens in Halo 5. Not even close. And then they go through this whole two sides of the story and how like just a lot of that stuff is just not what it seems.
Okay. See, and then I think it's just a bad headline. Because when I saw the headline, I assumed what we had seen leading up to this was not the story. I was assuming we were getting a Batman Origins style twist. Where I thought, spoilers for Batman Arkham Origins. I thought, you're about to go play it when you get home, Kevin. I thought we were going through and we're getting this Black Mask story, right? But really quick into that game, it's like, haha, no, it's all a Joker story. You're like, oh my God, this is awesome. That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that I'm waiting right now playing it based on the headline, waiting for the other shoe to drop of Locke gets killed and it's just Chief. Or now they're immediately, like we all know they're going to become friends and have to fight a greater force or whatever. I thought that was going to happen immediately or something like that. That's not bad. Now I understand what you're talking about. I would say the E3
2013
marketing lied to you. I don't have to say all the marketing lied to you. But anyways.
But that's the thing though, is I do feel like this is a important conversation to have where marketing tools and stuff, should it lie to you and to get you hyped and kind of just be something where it's like this stuff isn't in the game or movie or whatever? Yeah. Or are they promising you something? Are they promising that what you're buying has this thing in it?
Sure.
And it's like when you watch a movie trailers, and Mitch even makes this point, nowadays give away the whole movie.
Sure.
So it's like, would you rather that, or would you rather them kind of tease you with the stuff that's just not in the game?
Right.
You know? And some things are just like, in terms of thematic stuff, it makes sense, where I didn't really expect the scenes of them killing each other to be in that game. How would that happen?
I didn't expect the scene of Chief walking alone in the desert in his poncho to be in the game.
But see, that to me is different. The biggest change there is the fact that that's so old, and technically that wasn't Halo 5.
Yeah.
That was Halo back when it was just Halo.
Yeah.
So things change, and I get that. But that sets a tone for the game. That sets me being like, oh, this is different for Halo. This is something that
he never wears a poncho.
But he's never like alone like that. Never.
And why is he wearing armor and then a poncho?
Yeah. Like, what's going on?
It was a disguise.
Make any sense.
But I do think that interested me in it, as somebody that loves Halo, but isn't necessarily gonna play every single Halo game that comes out.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And then now it's just Halo, you know?
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, the Arkham Knight stuff, like where it is just a huge twist or whatever, like that's cool. But is this that?
No, it isn't. That's what I'm saying. Is I thought based on the headline, I thought it was, and I was thinking about how mad I would be that if Arkham Origins story was spoiled that way. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now we're just talking about straight up the early marketing isn't what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
Does that matter? I don't think so. You've had how many? I'm having the exact opposite, where we watched the launch trailer, and I was like, "This is getting me hyped." And then last night we're doing the thing where we're falling through the sky, and the Muse song should be playing, but it isn't. And I'm like, "All right, yeah, I remember this. All right, cool. Let's go shoot some shit." You know what I mean? Like I mean, games change all the time and evolve. I wouldn't, like you're saying, don't hold the sand and the poncho thing against them. Then to the next one, I don't even remember the execution switcheroo kind of thing.
But I mean, so that's the thing that's I think a lot of people do. You know,
Sure.
like that, especially the ones that are invested in this and like invested in the Halo lore and stuff and all the hunt the truth, like the whole hunter thing, the whole like you're hunting this thing. It's like that's not really the point of this game. And it's like that's crazy because that's all they've said. Hunt the truth, hunt the fucking truth, and we're not hunting things. Like,
are we hunting? I mean, like this is just the problem, I guess, is that for the first time in forever, I'm playing a game where I'm totally the guy we always talk about who doesn't read IGN or watch this. I'm like, oh, Halo, I want to play this with my girlfriend. I pick it up off the Walmart shelf and I come and play it. So like Hunt the Truth, like if you were to ask me what's Hunt the Truth mean, I'd be like, oh, well, Locke's hunting Chief and they're trying to get to the bottom of what this message he just got from this person was. And if that's not it, great. But that's what, I mean, to me, the Hunt the Truth campaign still makes sense because I don't know. I didn't listen to the podcast. I haven't listened to Car Talk. I haven't listened to Hunt the Truth podcast. I haven't listened to these other things. You know what I mean? Or like really watch these old school trailers. Mm-hmm. And now to your point of should games / movies or just games, I guess, show things that aren't in the game, I wish more did. Me
too.
Uncharted 3 was totally spoiled by a goddamn Subway commercial. Like, fuck that. You know what I mean? I would love to not know anything going into it. Because I knew I was going to play Halo with Christine, right? Like, I know I'm going to play Uncharted. I don't think they need to be deceptive. Don't show me something like you're fighting 80-story tall enemies, right? And then you get in the game and you're always just fighting grunts or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if it's one for one. But then again, I'm still speaking to something I didn't see and don't understand. But movies do it all the time where they show you, not so much anymore, I guess, but in the old days, I remember Varsity Blues in particular, that you watch the trailer for Varsity Blues and there's a bunch of scenes in that
lines and things that get
aren't in
that's
the movie at all.
Movies get edited and
right.
things like that happen.
But that's the problem when you're talking about a game.
Games get changed
yeah.
over time and all that. And like that stuff totally makes sense. And a lot of times it's just fun little Easter eggy things where you're like, oh, like that's a different take of a line that they said or whatever. But like with something like this, I think that this is it's a bigger deal in the sense that like everything they've hyped up about the story is different.
Really?
And I mean it's definitely from what I've played and what I've seen and like from reading this, I'm like, yeah, that's right. Now, having said all of that, I don't necessarily think this is such a bad thing because I agree with you. Like I think as long as it's the thematic thing that needs to make sense though, and the fact of like him being a lone warrior thing and then him always having a team, that's an issue. You know, like I think that if the original thing had shown more of that team element stuff, then this wouldn't be such a problem of a lie. You know, it'd be more of like you just got more. The marketing stuff was just more for you to enjoy. Yeah, you know, and like that's like the Transformers movies when they first announced them and stuff. All the trailers weren't even the movies at all. That was the point, though. It was just like getting people hyped for what ended up disappointing everyone. But like, at least the marketing was marketing. You know, it was just get hyped for this thing. And
how long ago was the dual execution Lone Wolf trailer thing?
Less than a year.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like it's not that long ago.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah. Which again, like the wandering thing, like that was long enough ago that
Fuck it. Yeah, whatever.
like okay.
Just some CG thing in the desert. Got it.
But anyways, I just think that the idea of the lies in marketing. We were talking a couple days ago about if Zelda wasn't on Wii U and just was on NX. I think this is a very similar thing. I feel like you were promising someone something
Yeah.
by tantalizing them with it. Like there's no difference to me between watching these trailers and Nintendo showing Zelda and saying, hey, it's going to be on Wii U.
My question is, what about what's been the case in developer interviews and stuff? Have they made it sound like he was going to be alone at any point?
No, I mean, and that's the thing is like then, throughout the development of the game, when we do see things, he was always with the team and stuff.
Because I feel like that's the course I've been on, where I've had him on up at noon. I've talked to him. They've been on our live shows or whatever. I forget which ones. And like I see the game, and I always heard about it's Locke's team versus Chief's team, and this is what's happening, and we're trying to figure all this out. We're hunting them or whatever. So like I don't know. I feel like we're hung up on this. Read more. What else is? What's so mad? I feel like we're hung up on one trailer where there's an execution scene.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing.
Well, big deal.
I mean, I don't want to read some of those because it does get a little bit into
it gets into
more spoilery stuff.
Okay.
But there's just some things based on like characterization of Locke and Chief and how they interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a delicate thing because I don't think there was a right answer. Like I'm contradicting myself many times in this because I'm saying like they're lying and that's bad, but also I think it's a good thing. I think it just needs to be a little bit it's the thematic thing. Going back to that.
I mean, like I guess this would be the question of like if video game journalism and criticism and everything else was where it is right now and Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, would it be that would we put up an article that said Metal Gear Solid 2's ad campaign lied to you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is kind of
and does that matter? Because that was an awesome twist, right? Like I don't that's the whole thing.
But I mean, that's another problem is like another part of my topic is the reaction to this thing where like people are super upset that he's like doing this and saying this. It's like, I think, and they're like, why didn't you wait to do this? I'm like, I think that it needs to happen now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what's the point of waiting for it? Like, don't read it if you don't want to read it and just stay away from it. But I think this is interesting. I think Mitch did something really cool of going back and finding all these things. And I don't think that like, even though lied to you sounds like a very negative thing, like I don't think he was just saying it's different,
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's interesting to look back and see how the things have changed over time.
Right.
So,
but lying comes with the connotation that they were trying to deceive you, right? Like I agree with you. If it was like this is how it changed over time, then that's an innocuous headline that you'd read and be like, okay, cool, that's all interesting. The game changed and developed and evolved, right?
Yeah.
But when you're trying to come up with a punchy headline that attracts people, you
exactly.
know what I mean?
Like, that's really what it is. And also, in the headline it says opinion. It starts off with opinion, which changes it even more. Which just like he was disappointed. He did feel lied to.
Okay, so Mitch, that's his. Those are his. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like cool. That's
that's
totally
a
fair thing.
Totally valid. No, I understand it. It's one of those again. I wonder if the script was flipped and there was a new Infamous game coming out, and I have been living and breathing it into every fucking trailer, and I got the game, and it was all of a sudden that no, Cole is back, but he's got a team of conduits you have to be with at all times. Would I be like, oh, like that's?
Yeah, I think that is a very valid thing. I mean, let's even with Metal Gear, like. That's like thinking back on how they would have handled that. And like if Metal Gear 2 had come out in this day and age, there would be a million articles about that.
Sure.
Talking about how, this is like, I think much angrier.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking bullshit and whatever.
Who's this whiny little bitch?
But I don't know. What do you think, Colin?
I don't have an opinion on this.
Okay.
I mean, it's like whatever,
Is it okay for marketing to do this? To show trailers that then don't have things in it?
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing that seems to be lost on a lot of people is my assumption is that they've already talked about the next Halo game. So my assumption is that this saga will continue. I'm not gonna play Halo 5. I have no interest in playing it at all. But my assumption is that 343 is going to continue this series in perpetuity for a very long time, and that this story is not done yet. So they might be setting the cadence. It could be like the three arc, having arcs in your story that setting it up and then having a crescendo and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there could just be an intent for the next game to continue the story or make it a little more salient for people. But deceptive marketing is shitty, but I'm not sure that Microsoft's intent was to deceive anyone either. So I think it's a valid point to make, but I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I don't really care. It wouldn't be the first time or the last time that a video game trailer. It's like Fallout 4 is being largely advertised with Pit-Boy videos and live action trailers that are not going to have anything to do with the game.
The game doesn't look like that?
Like it's not that uncommon So, and I'm excited that Fallout is being advertised in a way that doesn't show you anything in the game and doesn't,
That's an
and
unknown
it
quantity.
might tease things in the game. Oh, you have a dog, and and you're shooting a super mutant and all that kind of stuff. But like, the context is for you to make. So, it doesn't have to be out of context stuff. Doesn't have to necessarily be negative, in my opinion. But it does. I do agree that it seems like people really don't like the campaign, from what I've been reading in terms of the story. I've read that complaint quite a bit. People like multiplayer, and the game's getting great scores, so it can't be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an 85, between an 85 and a 90. I think on Metacritic. I think it'll be just fine. Yeah.
Yeah.